GF took my son to meet my usive parents behind my back for months and told him to keep it secret, then said I'm overreacting when I found out they left him alone with my father. Throwaway because my GF knows my main. Sorry if this is all over the place, I'm just really messed up right now and need to get this off my chest. I've never posted on Reddit before, but I'm desperate for some outside perspective. I don't even know where to start with this shit. I guess I need to give some background. I, 22 didn't have an easy time growing up. My childhood was so effed up that I sort of just put it all in a mental box and left it at that. I don't talk about it much and most people who know me have no idea what I went through. The few times I've opened up to people, they either don't believe me or they get weird and start treating me differently. So I just stopped talking about it. My parents were. Well, they weren't parents in any real sense of the word. My father was a violent alcoholic who would go from seemingly normal to terrifying in seconds. He'd be sitting watching TV 1 minute and then throwing things across the room the next. We never knew what would set him off. Sometimes it was something my sister or I did, sometimes it was something my mother said, and sometimes it was just because he felt like it. I used to hide in my closet when he got like that. I'd squeeze myself into this tiny space between the wall and some boxes and just wait it out. My mother wasn't any better. She was sober but in some ways worse because she was manipulative and calculated in her cruelty. She'd play mind games, pit my sister and me against each other, tell us we were worthless, that kind of shit. She knew exactly what to say to hurt you the most. And she always covered for my father. Always. No matter what he did. Needless to say, I left my parents as soon as I could and then went no contact and haven't seen them since. I was 18 when I finally got out. I didn't have much of a plan, just knew I had to leave. Crashed with a friend for a while, got a job, eventually got my own place. It wasn't easy but it was better than staying there. My girlfriend, 23 and I have been together since we were teenagers. We met in high school when I was a sophomore and she was a junior. We weren't super serious at first, just hanging out and hooking up, but then she got pregnant when I was 19 and she was 20. It wasn't planned obviously, but we decided to keep the baby. We have a son who's 3 now. He's a great kid, really smart, talks all the time, loves dinosaurs and those weird YouTube videos where people open toys. I'd do anything for him. When she got pregnant, we sat down and had a serious talk about my family. I made it very clear that I didn't even want to tell my parents about their grandson. I don't want my son anywhere near these people, I don't want my girlfriend around these people, and above all I would never leave any child alone around these people. My girlfriend seemed to understand this at the time, at least I thought she did. She asked a few questions but didn't push it. I thought we were on the same page. She doesn't know about what all my father did to me and my sister, but I also feel like she doesn't have to know in order to respect my wishes. I told her enough to understand that my home was dangerous. She knows my father is a violent alcoholic and she knows about a lot of the crazy shit my mother pulled over the years. She knows my sister has PTSD and she knows my father TU'd her. Isn't that enough information to realize these aren't people you leave a kid with? I remember specifically telling her about this one time when I was maybe 9 or 10, my father threw a glass bottle at my head because I didn't hear him call my name. It missed and shattered against the wall, but a piece of glass cut my arm and I still have a scar. I showed her the scar. I told her about how my mother would lock us in our rooms for days with just water and a bucket to piss in if we misbehaved. I told her these things. Not everything, but enough. Enough that she should have known better. We both work, she only part-time at a clothing store at the mall, but we always have someone to watch our child, either my sister or my GF's family, so it's not like she had to bring him there to have someone watch him. Her parents have been really good to us, and they've helped us out a lot. Maybe too much sometimes. They're always around and sometimes I feel like they think they know better than us about raising our kid, but that's a whole other issue. Her dad is alright. Quiet guy, works a lot, doesn't say much when I'm around but he's always been respectful. Her mom though. She's the type who always has to be involved in everything. Always has an opinion. Always knows better than everyone else. She's not a bad person, she's just a lot. And she clearly thinks her daughter could have done better than me. Which, fair enough. I'm not exactly a catch. I didn't go to college, I work a regular job, but I treat her daughter well and I'm a good dad, so her mom can think whatever she wants. Anyway, yesterday something really effed up happened. My sister texted me a picture of our parents' dog. In the background was my son's shoes. Our mother uploaded the picture on Facebook, where I have them blocked, but my sister recognized the shoes though mainly was concerned about my parents even having a kid over. At first I was like, maybe it's just some random kid's shoes that look like my son's. They're just blue sneakers with those dinosaur lights that flash when he walks, lots of kids have those. But I had this sick feeling in my stomach. My sister was freaking out. She was like, please tell me that's not your son's shoes and then are you letting them see him now? And I was just staring at my phone feeling like I was going to throw up. I called my girlfriend right away but she didn't answer. She was at work. So I had to wait until my son got home from daycare, which was like 3 hours of just sitting there thinking of all the worst possibilities. I recently had switched my phones and the daycare number wasn't on there. The daycare lady dropped him off around 4 and I tried to act normal. Made him a snack, asked about his day, all that. Then I casually brought up grandparents. I asked if he knew what grandparents were. He said yes, they're mommy and daddy's parents. I asked if he had met any grandparents. He said yes, mommy's mommy and daddy, and also mommy's other mommy and daddy. I was confused at first. Mommy's other mommy and daddy? Then it clicked. My parents. He's been calling my parents grandma and grandpa. I tried to stay calm and asked him to tell me about mommy's other mommy and daddy. That's when it all came out. I talked to my son about it and turns out he's been there several times. Like, not just once or twice. Apparently, my GF has been taking him to see my parents for months. And the worst part? He's been left alone, unsupervised, with my father. My fucking father. The same man who. I can't even type it. My son told me that grandma and grandpa have a dog and that grandpa lets him play video games. He also told me that mommy told him not to tell me about their visits because it was a special surprise. Teaching my kid to keep secrets from me? What the actual fuck? That's predator behavior 101. I was trying so hard not to lose it in front of my kid. I managed to keep my voice steady and act like everything was fine, but inside I was screaming. I asked if grandpa ever did anything that made him feel bad or uncomfortable. He said no. I asked if grandpa ever touched him in a way he didn't like. He said no. I asked if he was ever alone with grandpa. He said yes, when grandma and mommy went to the store. I got him set up with a movie in his room and then I just sat on the couch waiting for my girlfriend to get home. I must have texted her like 20 times asking when she'd be back. She finally responded saying she was on her way. I was so angry I couldn't even sit still. I kept pacing back and forth, trying to figure out what to say to her. How to approach this without completely losing my shit. She got home around 6. As soon as she walked in the door I confronted her. I said, "Have you been taking our son to see my parents?" She looked shocked, like she'd seen a ghost. Then she got defensive real fast. Started saying things like, "I knew you'd overreact and they're not as bad as you say and he deserves to know his grandparents." I was understandably angry and confronted my GF as soon as she was back home, which of course led to a huge fight. I yelled. I don't usually yell but I couldn't help it. She started crying and saying I was overreacting. Overreacting? To finding out my son had been left alone with a known abuser? She kept saying nothing happened and they seem like normal people now, like that somehow makes it okay. Then she got defensive and said I never told her the whole story, so how was she supposed to know? But I told her enough. I fucking told her enough. I asked her how long this had been going on. She admitted it had been since last fall. She's been sneaking behind my back for months. Taking my son to see the people who abused me for months. And leaving him alone with them. I asked her if she had any idea what kind of danger she was putting our son in. She said I was being paranoid. That my parents seemed like normal, nice people. That my mother was so excited to see her grandson. That my father was ill and deserved to know his grandson before he died. That's when I really lost it. I said some things I probably shouldn't have. Called her names. Told her she was a terrible mother for endangering our child. Asked her how she would feel if something happened to him. If he got hurt. If he got abused. She started sobbing uncontrollably. Our son heard the yelling and came out of his room crying. He ran to his mom and she picked him up and just held him, glaring at me like I was the bad guy. She left crying and went to her parents' house, and later her mother came to pick up my son, which I refused, which led to a fight with her mom too. Her mom was like, "You're being controlling and he's her son too," and I just lost it. I told her to get the fuck out of my house. Maybe that was too much, but I was seeing red at that point. Her mom stood there for a minute just staring at me like she couldn't believe what I'd said. Then she said something about how I was just like my father. That fucking hurt. I've spent my whole life trying not to be like him. I'm nothing like him. I'd never hurt my son. I'd never hurt anyone. I'm trying to protect my son. Why can't they see that? After she left, I called my sister. She came right over. We talked for hours. She's the only one who really understands. She went through it too. She knows what our parents are capable of. She was horrified that my girlfriend had been taking my son there. She offered to let us stay with her for a while if we needed to. I don't know if it'll come to that. My GF texted me, asking to talk later today, and I know I can't keep my son from her. I also don't want to, but I don't want to go into our conversation unprepared, so any advice is welcome. I also feel betrayed and still very angry, and I'm honestly ready to break up over this, but my son is very upset and anxious because he heard our fight, and I'm just at a complete loss and don't know how to handle this. Should I just try to calm down and hear her out? I don't think I am, but I'm so angry I can't think straight. I love her, or at least I did. We've been together a long time. We have a son together. But I don't know if I can ever trust her again after this. She went behind my back on something so important. She put our son in danger. She taught him to lie to me. All because she thought she knew better than me about my own fucking parents. I haven't slept. Haven't eaten. Just been sitting here trying to figure out what to do next. I keep checking on my son every few minutes to make sure he's okay. He's confused and upset and keeps asking where mommy is. I don't know what to tell him. I don't want to talk bad about his mom, but I can't pretend everything is fine either. Any advice would be appreciated. I'm at my wit's end here. Edit, thanks for all the advice and support. First, a lot of you are saying I should just tell my GF exactly what happened to me and my sister. It's not that simple. These aren't things I talk about easily. I've spent years trying to forget this shit. Having to dig it all up again is painful as hell. Also, I already told her the basics. She knows my father touched my sister inappropriately. She knows he was violent. She knows my mother was psychologically abusive. What more does she need to know? The exact details? How many times? In what ways? That shit is personal and traumatic, and I shouldn't have to relive it just to convince her our son isn't safe with these people. Second, to everyone saying just go to court and get a custody order that prevents them from seeing your son, it's not that easy. I talked to another lawyer today. They said that without direct evidence that my parents are a danger to my son specifically, it would be difficult to get a court to completely prohibit contact. My history with them matters, but it's not an automatic guarantee, especially since it was years ago. The lawyer also said it would be an uphill battle against my GF's parents who have money and influence. I've been thinking about what to do next. My GF came over today to see our son. We barely spoke. She played with him for a few hours then left. She seemed sad. I almost felt bad for her, but then I remembered what she did and the feeling passed. I'm tired. So fucking tired. This wasn't how I thought my life would be. I was supposed to be in college or something. Hanging out with friends. Doing normal young adult shit. Not dealing with custody battles and childhood trauma and a girlfriend who betrayed my trust. But here we are. I'll update again if anything significant happens. Thanks again for listening. Update, I didn't feel like I could even think when I made my initial post, so it was good getting different perspectives. Can't believe so many people responded. Didn't expect this to blow up like it did. Holy shit. I read everything even if I didn't reply. Some of you guys were really harsh, but I get it. I was emotional and probably didn't explain things as clearly as I should have. A lot of you asked for an update, so here it is. Also, thanks for the awards I guess, though I'd rather not be in this situation to begin with. This will be a long post because a lot has happened, not really but it feels like it. I did write that my GF and I would talk that same day I posted, but we didn't because I needed to sort myself out and I think she did too. She's been avoiding me ever since and requested we talk at her parents' place, but I didn't want that, so we didn't get to talk until yesterday while my son was at my sister's. I was dreading this conversation because I knew it wouldn't go well. I mean, how could it? After our fight, she stayed at her parents for about a week. We only communicated through texts, mostly about our son. She'd ask how he was doing, if he needed anything, that kind of stuff. I told her she could see him whenever she wanted, but I'd prefer if I was present for now. She didn't like that but agreed. She came over a few times to see him while I was there. It was awkward. We barely spoke to each other. Our son could tell something was wrong. He kept trying to get us to play together, to sit together. It was heartbreaking. I talked to a lawyer briefly, just to understand what my options were if things went south. Lawyers said that without any evidence of abuse against our son, it would be hard to get full custody. Said that courts generally favor keeping both parents involved unless there's clear danger to the child. Said that my history with my parents would be considered but might not be enough to prevent my GF from taking our son wherever she wanted. Not what I wanted to hear. Anyway, when we finally sat down to talk, it was tense from the start. She seemed nervous, which I guess makes sense. I tried to stay calm. Apparently in September last year, I think, could have been August, my mother reached out to my GF on Facebook asking how me and my son were doing. My mother is a very intelligent woman but highly manipulative. She convinced my GF to visit them because my father is ill. My GF said she didn't tell me because she knew I'd say no and she wanted to see what kind of people my parents were. She brought our son but didn't leave him alone at first, but their visits got fairly regular and she became comfortable with leaving him with my parents. He seemed fine, even seemed to like it there, so she didn't feel like he was in danger. The first time she left my son fully alone was when she went Christmas shopping. She said she started by just messaging with my mother. At first she ignored the messages, but then she got curious. My mother sent her photos of me as a kid. Told her stories about when I was little. Said she missed me. Said my father was sick, some kind of heart condition apparently, and might not have much time left and that they just wanted to meet their grandson before it was too late. My GF said she told my mother she'd think about it. She didn't promise anything. But then my mother kept messaging her. Kept sending photos. Kept talking about how my father might not make it to the next Christmas. Finally, my GF agreed to meet them at a park. Just her, not our son. She said she wanted to see for herself what they were like. She met them and said they seemed normal. My mother hugged her. My father shook her hand. They brought their dog. They talked about me, about our son. They showed her more photos. They didn't say anything bad about me. Didn't blame me for cutting contact. Said they understood why I'd stay away but hoped that maybe someday I'd give them another chance. A few weeks later, she brought our son to meet them. Same park. She said she watched them like a hawk the whole time. Said my mother cried when she saw him. Said my father kept his distance at first, seemed almost shy. They brought a present for our son. Some kind of dinosaur toy that roars and moves its head. Our son loved it. My GF said the visit went well. Everyone behaved. Our son had fun. After a few more park visits, my GF said they invited them to their house. She was hesitant at first but agreed. She said she was shocked when she saw the place. Based on what I'd told her, she expected it to be filthy, chaotic, maybe even dangerous. But it wasn't. It was clean. Organized. My parents had moved since I lived with them. My father wasn't drunk. Didn't seem angry. My mother wasn't acting manipulative or cruel, at least not that my GF could tell. I think from what I had told her about my childhood home, she expected a house of horrors, but according to her the place was clean and fixed up, the dog was healthy and my parents were nice. Like that somehow erases their past? Our old dog used to be a matted mess, but now they take care of their new one, so that means they're changed people? What kind of logic is that? The visits became regular. Once a week, sometimes twice. My GF would make up excuses to me about where she was taking our son. Shopping. Visiting friends. Going to the park. I never suspected anything because why would I? I trusted her. She'd never lied to me before. At least not about anything important. The thing is that she knew something happened to my sister. I never told her what happened to me other than small things like the scar, which I now see I probably should have done. She doesn't see predators everywhere like I do, and when my son didn't report anything negative she saw no issue taking him and leaving him there. It's pretty clear that she doesn't know anything about abuse and what it can look like. I don't understand how she could think she'd be able to spot the signs with this little knowledge. My father has been in contact with children most of my life, and while I don't know if he's done anything to them, my sister always said he knew how to make children feel at ease. Both my parents are very methodical and calculating, so I don't blame her for believing them, but I blame her for not discussing this with me. She went to visit them after talking to my mother for a few days. Meanwhile, I've lived there for 17 years and somehow she thought she knew better than me. I asked her why she told our son to keep it a secret. She said she knew I'd be upset, but she thought eventually I'd come around. She thought once I saw how good they were with him, how much they'd changed, I might reconsider my stance. She said she didn't want to cause a fight before it was necessary. She thought she was protecting me and our son. Protecting me? By going behind my back? By betraying my trust? By putting our son in danger? I tried to explain to her that abusers don't change. That they just get better at hiding it. That what she saw was a performance. That my parents were showing her what she wanted to see. That they were manipulating her, just like they'd manipulated me and my sister and everyone else who ever gave them a chance. Even when I told her some details about my childhood, she still tried to push supervised visits, saying my father was ill and my son had a right to meet his grandparents, which I don't agree with at all. The thought of children being around these people makes me sick, but she seems reluctant to agree to officially limit their visitation rights. I'd need her agreement, however, unless I want a court case, which I really don't. Her parents have money and can afford good lawyers. I can't. She kept saying things like people can change and it was a long time ago and they seem genuinely sorry for whatever happened. Whatever happened? Like she still doesn't believe me. Like she thinks I'm exaggerating or making it up. That hurt almost as much as the betrayal itself. I also tried to explain why this felt like a betrayal, because this is not just about putting my son in danger, it's also about her going behind my back for months. What else would she be capable of? Then she told my son to keep the visits a secret, which is exactly what abusers say too. That's like the biggest red flag for me. You don't teach kids to keep secrets from their parents. Ever. She did apologize, saying she made an honest mistake and feels like I'm blowing this out of proportion and that her parents think so too. Besides, our son is fine and I shouldn't have raised my voice at her mother or her and should be more grateful for what she and her parents have done for me and us over the years, which I am. I owe them, sure, but that doesn't mean they can just overrule my parenting decisions or get so involved. I feel like neither her nor her parents trust me or take me seriously, and it's so frustrating when the mother of your son is pretty much actively working against you. She brought up her parents a lot during our conversation. How they think I'm overreacting. How they've always supported us. How I should be more grateful. I get that her parents have helped us out. They let us live with them when our son was first born. They've babysat countless times. They've given us money when we were short. But that doesn't give them the right to make decisions about our son. Then I was finally honest. I told her everything like many of you recommended. I was adamant to not share these things, but honestly you guys were right. So I told about what my father did to me. And you know what she said? I don't see why we can't do supervised visits. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I just told you the man molested me and my sister and you want to bring our son around him? It's like she didn't hear a word I said. I think I just shut down after that. Even if he doesn't teach him, I'd still be trafficking my son to visit these monsters. I can't explain why I feel that way. It's just how I feel. It's not like I enjoy being estranged from my parents. It's not like I made this decision lightly. It took years for me to accept that I couldn't have a relationship with them, that it wasn't safe for me mentally or physically. It took years of therapy, which I can't afford anymore, to get to a place where I could function relatively normally. And now all of that is being undone because my girlfriend thinks she knows better after a few months of supervised visits. Honestly, I don't know if anything is resolved. I know why she made the choices she made, but I don't feel like she understands why I was and still am upset. She left after bringing up her mother because I got angry again, and I know I shouldn't have, but I reveal something so big and just still don't get taken seriously. I want us to work, and she agreed that it'd take a lot of work to get back to before all of this, which I'm not sure is even possible. I apparently deeply upset her and scared our son. True, I never wanted us to fight in front of him like that either, and I angered her family. I think for me emotionally all feelings for her vanished the moment I found out, so that's kind of where I'm at now. After our talk, nothing was really settled. She went back to her parents' place. Our son is still confused and upset. I'm still angry and hurt. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know if we can ever get past this. I don't know if I even want to try. I wish we could make it work for his sake, but I don't want him to grow up with dysfunctional parents or with his parents fighting every day, so if this doesn't work out I'll need to get a lawyer. I'm willing to put in the work needed for us to stay together, but I've been doing a lot of thinking. We were so young when we started dating and had our son, and I'm not sure I ever thought about us staying together forever. I only stayed because I was living with them, and then I stayed because I didn't want to be a shitty teen dad, abandoning my son and the girl I loved, because I really did love her, I think. Also, I am partially responsible for her being pregnant in the first place, before he was even born. We've been together for what, 6 years now? That's a long time when you're young. We've grown up a lot in those years. Maybe we've grown apart too. Maybe we want different things. As for my son, I have talked a lot to him these past few days. I had taught him about touch and what's okay and what isn't, so I just hope it's true that nothing happened. He has also, apparently, not seen anything inappropriate. Our fight got to him though, and he knows I was sad and knows his mom is too, and I hope him and I talked it out enough and that my GF gets to talk about this with him too. We might just sit him down or something. I'll need to talk to her about that. I took him to his pediatrician for a checkup. Didn't tell the doctor my specific concerns because I didn't want to bias them. Just asked for a general evaluation. The doctor said he seemed perfectly healthy and developmentally on track. No signs of physical abuse. No behavioral red flags. That's somewhat reassuring, but I'm still watching him like a hawk. Things have calmed down between us now. Maybe it's sinking in for her now, even though she still argues that nothing happened and ultimately everything was fine, but it feels like that's just her inability to accept she's made a mistake, repeatedly. She said she really thought they were okay because they seemed normal. I don't think she'd bring him there behind my back again, but I obviously can't say for certain. I'll definitely take legal steps against my parents seeing him though. Not sure what else to do at this point. I feel completely lost and alone right now. Has anyone been through something similar? Any advice for co-parenting when you can't trust your ex?